Bonjour, je m'appelle Thembani Nkomo et je suis le président du Ivorian Business Council Zimbabwe. Hello, my name is Thembani Nkomo, chairman of the Ivorian Business Council Zimbabwe. Today, we will discuss trade and investment opportunities that exist between the Republics of Côte d'Ivoire and Zimbabwe. Founded in 2024, the Ivorian Business Council of Zimbabwe is a privately held company whose mission is to become the premier vehicle facilitating trade and investment opportunities between the Republics of Côte d'Ivoire and Zimbabwe. Côte d'Ivoire, affectionately known as the Ivory Coast, is a West African nation with approximately 30 million people. According to IMF data, with a nominal GDP of roughly $87 billion, Côte d'Ivoire has quickly become the 9th biggest economy in Africa. Despite Côte d'Ivoire having one of the fastest growing economies in Africa, trade between Côte d'Ivoire and Zimbabwe has remained very low, at less than 200,000 annually over the last 6 years, according to Zimtrade statistics. The Ivorian Business Council supports African transcontinental trade and commends Zimbabwe for its continued efforts to develop a strategic dry port in Walvis Bay, Namibia. This investment in logistics and infrastructure will enhance the viability of Zimbabwe's trade prospects with not only Côte d'Ivoire, but the greater $735 billion ECOWAS market and beyond. Similarly, a commercial air route opportunity exists for the first player to connect passengers and cargo from Zimbabwe and Zambia to Abidjan and the surrounding ECOWAS region with a combined population of around 394 million people. The Sub-Saharan Côte d'Ivoire strategy, which falls under Côte d'Ivoire's National Strategic Plan of Tourism Development, aims to make the country the 5th largest tourism hub in Africa. The Ivorian Business Council commends this and seeks to facilitate bilateral agreements with the relevant authorities in tourism and transport to increase tourist and flight arrivals to both countries, promote collaborative efforts, including advocating for the inflow of tourists to Zimbabwe from Francophone markets, and encourage investment in the respective hospitality sectors in Victoria Falls and beyond. To that effect, the Ivorian Business Council of Zimbabwe sought and received support for this initiative from the relevant authorities in Zimbabwe, and now seeks to facilitate the route with a commercial airline to connect passengers and cargo to and from the two countries. Within the agricultural sector, several overlooked trade and investment opportunities exist between Zimbabwe and Côte d'Ivoire, including the following. Fish. According to the Investment Promotion Center in Côte d'Ivoire, the country has an annual deficit of 500,000 tons of fish. Côte d'Ivoire thus imports $680 million worth of fish, according to the Observatory of Economic Complexity, OEC, of which 48.4% originates from outside Africa. Conversely, from sources, namely Lake Kariba, Zimbabwe is one of the top fish producers in sub-Saharan Africa and has a rapidly developing aquaculture sector that has grown from 20,000 tons to 33,000 tons during the past 18 months. With adequate trade finance and relevant offtake agreements, an opportunity exists to exponentially continue this growth trend and export Zimbabwean tilapia and trout fish to the Ivorian market. Sugar. Zimbabwe has historically been one of the top exporters of sugar in Africa. With a bilateral agreement, an opportunity exists to export Zimbabwean sugar to Côte d'Ivoire, which imports approximately $203 million worth of raw sugar from OEC statistics. According to these same statistics, 99.6% of these raw sugar imports originate outside Africa. palm oil. According to Zimtrade statistics, Zimbabwe imported $50.5 million worth of palm oil in 2022 and $32.5 million worth in 2021, mainly from Malaysia. Cote d'Ivoire is Africa's biggest palm oil producer, and the Ivorian Business Council believes that palm oil of Ivorian origin should capture a more meaningful market share of the imports. Kenya, as a case study, imported $57 million worth of palm oil from Cote d'Ivoire, according to OEC statistics. The Ivorian Business Council has established some food and pharmaceutical players in Zimbabwe procuring refined palm oil from Asia. An opportunity thus exists for a Zimbabwean company to partner with an Ivorian palm oil producer and become a regional COMESA storage and distributor based in centrally located Zimbabwe. Fruits and vegetables. Zimbabwe is the 17th largest exporter of oranges, according to Zimtrade statistics. The country exported $32.2 million worth of oranges in 2021, mainly to Spain, South Africa, Germany, Poland, and the United Arab Emirates. An opportunity exists for Zimbabwean farmers to export oranges to Cote d'Ivoire. On the other hand, Cote d'Ivoire exports approximately 180,000 tons of mangoes. An opportunity exists for Zimbabwe to import off-season mangoes from Cote d'Ivoire. Also, according to the OEC, Cote d'Ivoire imports $63.6 million worth of onions, of which nearly 75% comes from as far as Europe and China. Opportunity exists for Zimbabwean farmers to export surplus onions to Cote d'Ivoire. Meat. According to the Investment Promotion Center in Cote d'Ivoire, the population highly prizes pork, and the country imports 83% of its pork consumption, totaling 49,000 tons. In addition to this being an export opportunity for Zimbabwean pig farmers, an investment opportunity worth exploiting exists to set up pig farms in Cote d'Ivoire. Also, an opportunity exists to re-establish beef exports from the early 2000s. The Ivorian Business Council has established a network of Zimbabwean companies keen to export beef and now seeks relevant buyers in Cote d'Ivoire to foster such a business relationship. Tobacco. According to the OEC, Zimbabwe is the third largest raw tobacco exporter, and Cote d'Ivoire imported approximately $160 million worth of tobacco in 2019, 99% of which came from Europe. According to Tobacco Reporter, 7 cigarette manufacturers operate in Zimbabwe, with a combined production capacity of around 5 billion cigarette sticks annually. An opportunity exists to facilitate direct tobacco processing on a toll basis, connecting an Ivorian distributor to Zimbabwean cigarette manufacturers, and developing a brand and taste catering to the Ivorian and surrounding Francophone markets within ECOWAS. Rubber. Cote d'Ivoire is Africa's largest rubber producer. An opportunity exists for Zimbabwean rubber importers to purchase directly from Cote d'Ivoire. While the Zimbabwean rubber industry has since collapsed, an opportunity exists to revitalize it via importing Ivorian rubber and taking advantage of Zimbabwe's central location to manufacture and sell domestically and the surrounding COMESA markets. Outside of agriculture, opportunity exists in the mining and construction sectors. Complementing His Excellency, President Mnangagwa's mantra of Zimbabwe is open for business, the Ivorian Business Council of Zimbabwe seeks to partner with Ivorian investors keen on Zimbabwe's diverse mining sector. This sector encompasses nearly 40 minerals, with key ones including platinum groups of metals, chrome, gold, coal, lithium, and diamonds. Under the Second Republic, Zimbabwe's mining sector has doubled in earnings, evidenced by mineral exports growing from 2.7 billion in 2017 to 5.6 billion in 2022. Similarly, Côte d'Ivoire has significant untapped mineral potential, including gold, diamonds, iron ore, manganese, and newly discovered lithium deposits. The country's gold production reached 51 tons in 2023, up from 48 tons in 2022, and should reach 56 tons by the end of 2024. The government of Côte d'Ivoire is committed to growing the mining sector, and the Ivorian Business Council of Zimbabwe seeks to foster strategic partnership with a Zimbabwean mining company with a demonstrated success record to support the development of new and existing deposits of gold and lithium in Côte d'Ivoire. Opportunity further exists for Ivorian companies to seize the construction and property development requirements needed in Zimbabwe. Several factors have led to increasing demand for housing in recent years. According to UN data, Zimbabwe's population should grow by 1.9 million, approximately 11.3% from 2024 to 2030. Another is the ever-growing number of people moving to urban areas due to the availability of metropolitan jobs and opportunities. The growth in demand puts a strain on Zimbabwe's urban housing stock, and according to the Africa Housing Finance Yearbook, Zimbabwe is faced with an urban housing backlog of 2 million units as of January 2023, up by 33.3% from 1.5 million units in February 2022. Likewise, the opportunity exists for Zimbabwean exporters of building materials to support the rapidly growing Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, which, according to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, is one of the top 10 fastest growing cities in the world. Specifically, Zimbabwe is the world's 7th largest exporter of granite and hosts one of the largest manufacturers and exporters of tiles in Southern Africa. An opportunity exists to export black granite and tiles of Zimbabwean origin to Côte d'Ivoire. The two countries have great potential for trade. However, a critical challenge is the aspect of logistics. Nevertheless, the Ivorian Business Council of Zimbabwe remains ambitious and aims to grow trade and investment between the two countries by 100-fold within the next 5 years. We plan to accomplish this goal by fostering strategic partnerships in logistics, tourism, agriculture, mining, construction, finance, and education. Furthermore, the Ivorian Business Council supports establishing a consulate post with jurisdiction over the Republic of Zimbabwe to enhance bilateral trade, investment, education, and cultural exchange relations to increase diplomacy and development assistance. Moreover, establishing the consulate will reduce trade barriers and assist and protect Ivorian citizens, Ivorian companies, and their respective interests in Zimbabwe, which will be the epitome of the Ivorian Business Council's charter. Côte d'Ivoire and Zimbabwe represent potential for unprecedented development in our modern-day century. The two countries have the vibrancy, talent, knowledge, and ingenuity to achieve greater propensity and stability. Together, we can unite this powerful potential into an arc of peace, prosperity, and bilateral cooperation.